classroom aspect, but of course it includes book learning as well. So Roots and Shoots is my hope for the future. And let me end up by saying that 3 months ago I was in Greenland and I stood at the foot of a great cliff of ice. I was with Inuit elders, some of whom who had not been there since they were children. And this cliff of ice has got much shrunk in size over the past 20 years. And where no water ever flowed, now there's a raging river. And I stood there and I heard and I watched giant slabs of ice crack off and crash down with a rumbling, thunderous roar. And I saw the tears streaming down the faces of the elders as they said their land was being destroyed and crying out for help. And one of those elders takes the message around the world. I have a message from the north. Up in the north, the ice is melting. What will it take to melt the ice in the human heart? And I came away with the understanding that the most important message for us today is that each and every one of us must do what we can to slow down climate change. And just as I left the UK 3 weeks ago, they launched a wonderful project called 1010, which is a commitment to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions by 10% by the end of 2010. And it's signed on by the whole British cabinet now, and schools and universities, as well as individuals. So through Roots and Shoots, science teachers, environment teachers, but everybody actually, to spread this message around the world. Because if we don't, then, you know, so many of the amazing animals of these forests that I woke up to this morning will no longer be here for our great-great-grandchildren. So this is the, you know, part of Roots and Shoots, but it affects all of us, wherever we are, and should be a part of science education now, I think. So I don't know if anybody wants to ask questions. It's a very strange feeling, because I don't even know if you're hearing me.
They are. Very definitely.
Next, I'll try and read the question.
They can hear you fine.
Yeah, but
Who would like to ask the question?
They're going to ask a question.
I know.
Go ahead. Say go ahead.
Go ahead.
He's going to have to relay the question because, you know, they're out of there. Go ahead.
We have a question about the scale of operation between large-scale solutions at the international level and small-scale solutions working with children at the school, local school level. Could you comment a little bit about the efficacy of those different approaches?
Well, the answer is pretty simple. We need both. We can't afford to wait for all the young people to grow up and become decision makers. I think they'll be very wise decision makers when that happens. But at this point in time, we have to work with the youth, and we also have to do everything we can to persuade governments to sign on at the Copenhagen Agreement in December. And actually, young people are great proponents of this. You know, young people writing letters, visiting their congressmen and senators. This really does make a difference.
Our president just showed us a bill that needs all depressed. Can you give us reasons for hope?
They just finished watching a film that some of them found too depressing, and they're wondering what hope you can give us.
Well, it just so happens that my last book is just published. It's called Hope for Animals and Their World, How Endangered Species Are Being Rescued from the Brink. And this book has given me more excitement and more hope than anything I've done. It's taken about 4 years because I was meeting these incredible heroes, these people who, you know, they were committed to trying to save a bird, a beetle, a plant, and people laughed at them. and said, well, it's no good, it's too late. But they would not give up. And these are success stories, and they're amazing, wonderful stories. They're from all over the world, from China and Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Americas. And